checking in from Washington, D.C. Good morning, Mary Bruce.
Good morning.
Let's start off with President Carter. President Bush has made it a point, when asked what are his thoughts about his predecessor, says, "It's not my place to criticize the man. I've been in that chair." However, President Carter does not assume that same philosophy.
Yeah, President Carter's not playing by those rules. It almost seems like every day we hear from another defection from a high-profile Democrat. This time it's Jimmy Carter accusing President Obama of essentially waiting too long to tackle the threat from ISIS. He said the president didn't do enough to go after the extremists in Syria and Iraq. And he's also taking it even further, questioning the president's current strategy to go against this threat, saying that, some boots on the ground will be needed to help. But, he didn't say those have to be American boots, but that someone has to be willing to go in and fight ISIS after American airstrikes. But remember, this isn't the first time that Jimmy Carter has been critical of President Obama. He's spoken out in the past against drones and surveillance, and he's even questioned the Affordable Care Act. But it's the fact that it comes in the midst of this pile-on by the president's former advisors, including Defense Secretary Panetta. The timing of this, not so great for the White House.
Yeah, let's talk about Panetta, too, because Panetta's new book kind of basically says the same thing, right?
Yeah, Panetta is questioning the president's leadership, saying he's hesitant to engage his opponents. When it comes to the ISIS threat, he basically puts the onus for the rise of ISIS squarely on President Obama, said the president didn't do enough to prevent the threat in Iraq. And he also takes issue with the president's current strategy as well, saying the U.S. should consider putting U.S. troops on the ground. The overall importance here, though, is that, Carter and Panetta are basically as solidly Democratic as it gets. So it shows that some of the president's Democratic support may be eroding a bit here.
Yeah, it wouldn't be shocking if a Republican senator or somebody squarely in the Republican camp is saying something. You could sort of play that off as, hey, they don't like anything President Obama does anyway. But when Democrats speak out, that's extraordinary. What has been the reaction from the White House?
Well, it is important to remember that this does happen with some regularity, especially when it comes to former administration officials, former cabinet secretaries, when they get out of office, take some time off, then they write their memoir. They get to tell their side of the story, their insider account, and this is something that frequently happens. It's the timing here that's a little rough for the White House, especially because you're 4 weeks away from the midterms. The president is trying to gather international support around his strategy to tackle ISIS, and so it's all of it coming to a head at one time that is difficult. Now, the White House, not surprisingly, is saying the president has demonstrated tremendous leadership. They're, pointing especially to his decisions over the last several weeks, saying that the president has shown success in leading the international community to confront some of the very difficult challenges that it's facing internationally. So, this does happen from time to time.
It also puts the Republicans in an interesting spot as quoting President Carter and being on President Carter's side.
Yeah, not something you see every day, right? But of course, as we head into the midterms, Republicans, using anything at their disposal to try and bolster their case against the Democrats.
Yeah, what are we hearing about midterm elections coming out of the White House?
The president has been out there fundraising quite a bit. The president is heading out west again today for 3 days, a mixture of official and fundraising events. You haven't seen the president actually campaigning that much, and that's because the White House is acutely aware that in a lot of these hotly contested states, the public appearance by the president might actually do more harm than good. Yeah, I think you'll likely see the president making a lot of appearances in some of those deep blue states, but so far the president has been quite busy shaking down the money tree and raising a lot of money for Democratic candidates.
Yeah, let's talk quickly about those boots on the ground. Many people talk about either American boots or foreign boots or some boots on the ground, but the White House has steadfastly said that they don't want those boots on the ground.
That is right, and that is not going to change, I suspect. This president has been adamant. No U.S. boots on the ground. He's not going to get America dragged into another long combat war, another long war in the region. That's just simply not going to happen. Now, keep in mind that we do have allies on the ground who will have boots there. We're partnering with the Iraqis to try and tackle this threat after America goes in with airstrikes, and of course trying to train and equip some of the Syrian opposition forces to help out with the broader mission there in Syria to tackle this threat. But it is going to be a long road ahead, and as the president said yesterday, this is not something that's going to happen overnight.
Mary Bruce, ABC News White House correspondent. Mary, great job. Thanks for checking in. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
7:27 here, Big 550 KTRS. Well, with this rain, you start to see the windows in